that captures the kind of essence of a different family member. I'm still really early in kind of working with this piece, but I figured it'd be a great time to kind of get started back with it.
Do you mind if I ask you about your tailpiece?
Yeah, sure.
What is that?
It's a ZMT tailpiece. It gives me an extra long C string, and it changes the overtones on the instrument a little bit. For this cello in particular, it tends to be really bright, almost to the point of being too nasal, but this warms it up a lot.
Okay.
And I'm like super nervous. I should also put it in performance mode. Ugh.
Cool. Let's talk. Can I?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about a couple things. Let's talk about performance anxiety for a second. What are some things that you can do to help yourself cope with performance anxiety?
The two ways that I've been trying to work on, especially, when I've played for a couple of people, I find that trying to really focus on the weight into the string, my hand gets really shaky lately.
Right. So playing for people, what does that do for you?
Lately, it's a vulnerability that I'm not used to.
Well, right. Okay. So playing for, the practice of playing in front of people, like, and you kind of almost, if you have severe performance anxiety, and I used to have severe performance anxiety, like to the point where I would break out in hives, like Indurol may have been involved on a couple of my Yeah, did you not know that? Yeah, I had severe performance anxiety, and that is something I had to work on. Especially with shakes in the right hand, and I found that the inner game of music. It was another book, something like that. It was called being aware, like the awareness, like actual, being able to feel what was causing the shaking, and maybe changing the balance a little bit in my hand, because if I was a little vulnerable, maybe center, finding that center. That's one thing you can do. Because I'm real big on trying to combat things without hitting the medication.
Right.
Because that's a really dangerous game. When you get into that, like meditation, like even before you play, taking a moment to center yourself and just breathing, remembering to breathe, and practice breathing, and actually physically writing in the music some like places to breathe, to remind yourself to breathe. Because what does breathing do?
It releases a lot of the tension.
It does, but what else does it do? When oxygen gets to your brain,
oh, you actually think better and clearer.
well, yeah, your cognitive function
right.
improves, right? Okay, so, remembering to breathe, and then being aware of the right hand and what it feels like to not shake, and finding your balance on, especially double stops. In fact, this is a fantastic piece to practice the balance of your right hand and on like 2 strings, Also, some other little homeopathic remedies, like I don't know how you feel about lavender. I actually put, and I know you have to be careful, like when you're performing, others are very sensitive to smell. I put like a little dot on the wrist, and then right before I have to play something challenging, even in Hamilton, because there's a lot of exposed stuff, and it is like an anxiety fest for me.
Even
just
after doing it a bunch of times?
Yeah, even we're
Every
approaching like 300. Yeah,
300?
like 300. We're approaching 300 shows soon. I think. Yeah.
And so you get anxious?
There's still parts that make me a little anxious.
Wow.
Now I would say I'm a lot less anxious than when I first started. But I mean, like I've done 300 shows, and I'm still focusing on, okay, let's not be anxious here. Let's make, doing things to calm down, because my brain is overacting like all the time, and like thinking, and I have to calm it down and quiet it down, learning how to meditate. There's a wonderful app on your phone that you can get called Headspace.
Yep.
I love it. Love it. I listen to it in the car. Just learning how to quiet your mind, because that's half the battle, and then you focus on the technique. And I could tell that you weren't really breathing. Like I could hear the nervous breathing. You were breathing out, but you would forget to breathe back in. And I felt like that, breathing in could have helped the cognitive function a little bit. I also, so going to the music, stepping away from the, wait, I have one more thing to say about the practice, playing for people. Yes, the more you do it, the more used to it you will get. But you also have to remember to put in, when you are playing for people, there are the people that make you nervous and there are the people that don't make you nervous. You need to always make sure that you go for the people who push you out of your comfort zone a little bit, Another really great way of playing for people to push you out of your comfort zone, there's Facebook Live now. YouTube. Yeah, I know, because people can be super nasty with those comments.
What's Facebook Live?
It's where you just like go live. You're live streaming your performance. A lot of people are doing their recitals and. Yeah, well, you can set the privacy parameters to have people not comment, but it's still, you don't know who's watching. You don't know. I mean, you kind of do, but if you're actually focused on your performance, you're not really, scrolling through how many people are signing on. A lot of people are doing that. They're live streaming their performances now. And if you want some feedback, that's a great way to get, but you have to prepare yourself for, there may be a few idiots who put something unkind, but more often than not, written comments, yeah. It'd be really cool to get like a YouTube, channel up, but that, could be dangerous if you don't know how to set your privacy settings. But like I said, play for people that push you out of your comfort zone a little bit, and do it often.
Did you actually play this for anybody?
I heard a little bit of this morning.
I see.
And I had played this for Armand and for my parents as well.
Okay, great.
So like if you spent an entire week, and when he says play for people, I never really did what he was asking me to do. I would play it for 1 or 2 people. No, but I mean, not to the extent where you were talking about.
Yeah.
Like, if I had a performance, I should be playing for people every day. Every day. Several people every day. Not 1 or 2 a week, So consistency is the key. Because the more you do something on a consistent basis, the more you're going to acclimate your
How
body.
much do I have to pay for saying all
Oh,
that?
yeah, no, I know, but it's, there's a reason. There's a reason for consistency. And I would say that the nerves, for me, performance anxiety nerves, when I started playing with the spree, and I started playing from memory every day and doing the same show from memory every day and having audience people like being very exposed and like having to dance around and like, I mean, there's a little bit of learning what performance actually is when you're on a stage and there's a ton of people watching every move you make. Now with video cameras and all that, you know, so if you stink, it's alive forever on YouTube, you know. So yeah, that tends to make one go crazy with anxiety. But yeah, I would say definitely be consistent with it, like every day. Now as far as like the piece itself, I thought there were a couple of places, like on the second line even, where you're starting with that E flat and the open A.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that could have been quieter. You know, like you've got a mezzo forte to a forte.
Right.
Now, are you coming back down to a mezzo forte, or I would tend to go a little bigger with that decrescendo so that you'd have somewhere else to move with the following hairpins.
Right.
And sometimes the succession of hairpins, you don't want it to be the same. So what you could actually be doing a building of how dramatic the three, you know.
That's what the composer actually asked for.
Yeah, just, you know, a succession of hairpins, be more dramatic with each one. And then, let's see, there was one more thing. Yeah, I would definitely practice that balance and just working on dealing with the shaking and find where it is for your hand, because it's very personal. Like, our playing is very personal. Our bodies are different. It's not a one-size-fits-all. I mean, there's basic schematics for each of us on technique, but you really have to figure out where your comfort zone is. You know, sometimes you can push yourself out a little bit to develop extended techniques, but, you know, just finding that balance on, like, for the double stops on the A string and D string, and being able to just, like, hold it without breaking the sound. And hold it, and then practice your breathing.
Great.
Yeah.
No,
Cool.
good.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a great vibrato exercise, by the way.
It's-
that is a vibrato exercise actually.
Yeah, and he asked for a lot of expressivity and changes in the vibrato. He's trying to really evoke. He took a trip to Israel, and this is some of the sounds. He has a family member that lives in Israel, and some of the sounds and calls to prayer, especially, he's trying to get the influence from. So I've had to think about the vibrato in this piece a lot.
I like that you know a lot about the composer and a lot about this piece,
Yeah,
because that helps with the interpretation.
Yeah,
You kind of help get inside the mind of the composer and their
I emailed
intention.
him back and forth a
Oh,
lot,
really?
and yeah, he's really, really sweet. I found this piece and thought it was gorgeous. Asked him like 1,020 questions about it and Skyped with him, and he was super, super
Oh yeah,
Skyped.
they love that. Yeah, they love
Did you
that.
play it for him?
Yeah,
Oh, you did?
yeah, he had a lot of suggestions, like literally almost exactly the same for the
Yeah.
first movement too.
Great. So, playing soft and being a little bit nervous, that's really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easier to, if you need to, maybe just come up a little bit, and if you are feeling.
A lot of it's the coordination of dealing with my muscle spasms now,
Right.
and I just haven't quite figured out that balance yet.
Mhm. So
Okay.
do you know, is it a neuro thing or is it
It's both.
Yeah.
The Hashimoto's thyroiditis is an autoimmune disorder that attacks my thyroid, and that has a lot of muscular stuff. And then
Right.
fibromyalgia, which is a neural disorder.
I know what the fuck,
Yeah.
because they thought that was kind of going on at the beginning of my, like I had some thing, it was just basically, I'm getting older and I have to take better care of myself.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of, we're very, very lucky now that they're doing this genome therapy
Yeah.
and immunotherapy. There are a lot of benefits for us now because it's not a one-size-fits-all treatment.
No, not at all.
Thanks, Buffy. Thanks so much.
You're
Let's go see Hamilton in,
Yeah.
in
Oh,
Charlotte.
here's some tips. If you're looking to get tickets, because